And amazing battery life was one of the main reasons why people loved Redmi 3S. Let's take a look at some of the data we had. So this was my battery life when I was using it as my daily driver. I'm a pretty heavy user, and I actually had the Wi-Fi hotspot on for more than 5 hours a day. Yet I'm still left with 42% battery. Another heavy Redmi 3S user, Abe, managed to get 15 hours of screen on time. 15 hours. And when we showed this last year, many people didn't believe it. And actually, some of you said that screen on time isn't the only thing that matters. But if you read through those 600,000 reviews, it's not just our claim anymore. It's a fact. So of course, we wanted to make sure that we continue this tradition with the Redmi 4. So just like the Redmi 3S, it also packs a huge 4100 milliamp hour battery, which is enough for 2 days of battery.
Thank you.
It delivers an incredible 18 days on standby.
ये Redmi 4 के बारे में भी बता रहे हैं.
If you compare Redmi 4 to the Moto G5, it has more than 50% battery capacity.
आज शाम तक आपको मिल जाएगा.
So you can stay powered for much longer. In our lab tests, Redmi 4 also performed well across a range of categories. Take a look at some of the numbers here. This is 13 hours of continued gaming. We have 8 hours of HD video recording and an absolutely incredible 36 hours of 3G talk time. During our internal tests, one of our colleagues, which I'm sure the Mi fans know well, Shahrukh, he managed to get 2 days of battery life with regular use. Things like browsing, messaging apps, calls, music, and more. Plus, he still had 10% battery at the end of the second day. So Redmi 4, it's the 4100 milliamp hour 2-day battery. Next, I want to talk about performance. The first thing to consider, of course, is the processor, and Redmi 4 is powered by the Snapdragon 435. It's a similar setup to the Redmi 3S. It has 4 A53 performance cores and 4 power cores. So you get the same performance that Mi fans loved with the Redmi 3S. But as a product company, we focus on the overall experience. We don't look at a single component in isolation. We don't design products simply to look good on a spreadsheet. What matters to us is how the phone performs once you actually start using it. Our actual benchmarks are smooth performance, power efficiency, and thermal performance. So, Redmi 4 has a gorgeous 5-inch HD display, and people have asked us, since Redmi phones are known to provide great specs at affordable prices, why don't you just use a 1080p Full HD display instead? Well, first of all, because Redmi 4 is a phone, it already has 296 ppi, which is reaching the limits of what the human eye can see. And secondly, the display actually has a very big impact on the performance of your phone. So to explain our thought process, let's use a simple example. You can think of Redmi 4 like a heavy-duty truck. The engine is the Snapdragon 435. It can take on a pretty decent workload and still travel smoothly. But if you increase the workload, the truck won't be able to travel as fast as it normally would. The same thing happens if you would pair Redmi 4 with the Full HD display. This is because Full HD displays have twice the number of pixels of an HD display.
जी टेक गुरु केडी, मैंने आपको पहचान लिया, मीटअप में मिले थे. ओके, थैंक यू. Redmi 4 प्राइम लॉन्च होने वाला है क्या? देखिए क्या लॉन्च होता है. Redmi 4 प्राइम होगा कि Redmi 4X होगा, अभी तो कुछ पता नहीं है, लेकिन देखता हूँ क्या होता है.
In our internal lab tests, we found that Redmi 4 has 2 times the frame rate versus Moto G5, and this is using on-screen graphics tests from GFX Bench, like Manhattan and T-Rex. In other words, Redmi 4 is 2 times smoother than the Moto G5. And because the workload on a 1080p display is more, you need more fuel to travel the same distance. This means that Redmi 4 is also more power efficient than the Moto G5. So the third thing we consider is thermal performance, and this is particularly important now.
Subscribe
and the combination of an HD display and the Adreno 505 also delivers significantly better thermal performance. So we ran a 20-minute gaming test comparing the same Moto G5 with the Redmi 4. Here you can see the Moto G5 on the left, Redmi 4 on the right. They both start at about the same temperature. If you look at it after 10 minutes, Moto G5 starts to get a little warm, and the Redmi 4 is still cool. But after 20 minutes, the Moto G5 heats up significantly, crossing 45 degrees in a visible way. The top half of this phone is dark red, especially around the earpiece. And if you look at Redmi 4, it doesn't even get warm.
Okay.
So the question to ask is it still worth it to have a full HD display in Redmi 4 if the performance, battery life, and thermal performance would be worse? Well, our answer, of course, is no. This is why looking at overall performance is the most important thing. In this lens, the 1080p display would actually be a downgrade. So Redmi 4 delivers great overall performance. So next, let's talk about design.
Okay.
Earlier this year, we launched Redmi Note 4, and it was our first smartphone to sport this gorgeous black-on-black matte finish. So of course, we had to bring this to Redmi 4 as well. It comes with a matte black metal finish and body. Now, design is the biggest upgrade that we've made to Redmi 4. This phone is simply beautiful. I encourage you to check it out in the experience zone after this, and you'll see what I mean. Actually, a few people have mistaken Redmi 4 for Mi 6 when I've been carrying it around for the last few weeks. So here's the view from the top. Gorgeous, rounded corners. And here's the full view. Of course, it's also available in elegant gold. And here's the close-up from the back. The aluminum metal body definitely looks gorgeous. The black is super sleek. This is, of course, my favorite. And here they are together, a perfect accessory for any outfit. Yep. Other than the two colors, gold and black, we've done so much with design to greatly improve the hand feel. Redmi 4 weighs 150 grams and is just 8.6 millimeters thick. It takes remarkable engineering to fit the same huge battery that we have in the 5.5-inch Redmi Note 4 into such a slim and compact phone. It's a clear visual upgrade from the Redmi 3S, especially from the sides. The main thing here is the slim, tapered edges. The 5-inch HD display is sized perfectly to fit in your hand, to provide that classic hand feel. Another big upgrade, the 2.5D curved glass on the front. So how does this curved glass improve hand feel? This is an actual photo of Redmi 3S and Redmi 4. If you look at Redmi 3S on the left here, you can see a lot of the gold metal rim. Whereas if you look at the Redmi 4, the gold rim is barely visible. And the result is that Redmi 4 feels a lot smoother in your hand, especially in the soft part of your thumb when you're scrolling. Getting a lot of applause. Thank you. The corners on Redmi 4 are more rounded, and I really appreciate the ergonomics, especially when I'm taking phone calls, because my hand usually grips the bottom part of the phone. Redmi 4 doesn't just feel better, it also looks better. It now comes with anodized high-gloss aluminum separation lines, giving you that premium look. And if you look at them side by side, you can see that the gold on the Redmi 4 is more tasteful and elegant than the Redmi 3S. The speaker grills are now placed on the bottom for better sound dispersion, and it gives the back cover a cleaner look. I particularly love the symmetrical look of the speakers, especially from the bottom. So that's design. Now let's talk about camera. Redmi 4 has a 13-megapixel PDAF camera with a 5-element lens. It also comes with several built-in features like HDR, panorama, burst mode, and more. PDAF stands for phase detection autofocus. It gives you super fast focus, like you can see here. It's just 0.1 second. Now, this results in more consistent photos because they're in focus more often. Let's take a look at some of the awesome camera snaps that we took on Redmi 4. This photo is actually taken outside my house. You can see the outlines of the red brick, and especially the edges on the rooftop. You can also see the crescent moon in the upper left there. This shows that the image is correctly exposed, because otherwise it would have been totally washed out. Here's a macro shot of the leaf. Every detail, the edges, the ribs, the nettle veins, they're all perfectly visible. Now, the ants in this photo are about 1 centimeter, and their antennae are about 1 millimeter in width, yet they're still distinctly visible on this screen. The thing I like most about this photo is the color on this guy's jacket is similar to the partition behind him, and yet they're both visible. You can even see the sheen on his jacket. This is an excellent image to show off the dynamic range of Redmi 4. As you can see, this image is taken against the sunlight, and yet the spider here in the foreground is still visible. Here's another image to show off the dynamic range. Half of her face is covered in shadow, and the other half is exposed to sunlight. But no details are lost. And more importantly, the skin tone has come out perfectly accurate. Redmi 4 comes with the 5-megapixel front-facing camera. Just like Redmi Note 4, it has Beautify with now 2 modes, Smart and Pro. You can see here the difference between a regular photo and Beautify on the right. Beautify enhances your selfies so that they look amazing, even without a filter. Beautify does even more with the 2 modes. With the Smart mode, you can select from low, medium, and high, and the Pro mode gives you full control. So you can change whatever details you want and get perfectly customized selfies. All variants of the Redmi 4 now come with the fingerprint sensor, and it's extremely convenient to unlock your phone. Unlocking your phone with a pattern or password can be time-consuming and tedious. The fingerprint sensor unlocks really, really quickly, just 0.3 seconds at the touch of your fingerprints. But unlocking is not the only thing that fingerprint sensors are useful for. Some of you might have seen that Galsasi's Facebook was recently hijacked. Actually, his dad called him while this was happening to ask him what was going on. Literally everybody here wanted a free car. And you can see, Rohit, that was not me. So in the end, we found out who the hijack culprit was. CJ saw that Rohit's phone was lying around unlocked and decided to play a prank on it. So first of all, you should never leave your phone lying around and unlocked, especially if you work with CJ. But if you do, or if you lend your phone to someone, you really don't want them to access certain apps like Facebook, WhatsApp, or your gallery. Redmi 4 comes with App Lock, which adds a layer of fingerprint or passcode security over individual apps. This gives you extra security even after you've unlocked your phone. So you can use App Lock to protect your sensitive data, and this works for any app installed on your phone. All you need to do is go to your settings and then select the apps you want to lock. It's that simple. The fingerprint sensor also works with second space. Second space allows you to create another profile with different wallpaper, different apps, different files, and different photos. So in this video, the right index finger unlocks a personal profile with this cat wallpaper. The left index finger unlocks a more serious profile. So if we look at it again, you can see here the right index finger. You have your personal apps like Facebook. And then the same phone with the left index finger unlocks to a completely separate profile. Perfect for work. Redmi 4 also comes with an IR blaster, which turns it into a universal remote control for your TV, as well as air conditioners. Again, very important for us now. It has a dual SIM hybrid tray with up to 128 gigabytes of micro SD storage. It comes with MIUI 8, the latest version of our Android operating system. It's packed with features. Other than second space, we have dual apps, which lets you have a second WhatsApp profile. We have Quick Ball, which puts customizable shortcuts at your fingertips. And we have a full featured calculator with things like currency conversions or weight conversions. Apart from running MIUI 8, Redmi 4 can also run a special preview of Android N. Mi fans can switch to this version out of the box. So this is a special beta version, and as Manu said, we measure ourselves very carefully on quality. We don't want to update our software just to change a version number in settings. So we'll push out the Android N version once we get enough feedback from all of you and make sure that it's stable. But if you want to switch, it's available out of the box. And of course, Redmi 4 is also made in India. Biggest applause for that so far. So in summary, Redmi 4 has a great 4100 milliamp, which gives you 2 days of battery life. The octa-core Snapdragon 435 processor, metal frame, and 2.5D curved glass, and a fingerprint sensor for all variants. So now let's talk about the price. We'll do a few comparisons here. The first is the J2. So this is the J2 2016, and even though the older version is a little more popular still. And you can see that across the board, it's worse than the Redmi 4, from the RAM to the ROM to the much smaller battery. But the spread trim processor in particular makes this phone a pain to use. The Moto G5 here starts now at 10,999, and Redmi 4, as we showed, has better battery life, smoother performance, and most importantly, better thermal performance. And then we have the Samsung J2, which has 2 gigabytes of RAM and just a 2400 milliamp hour battery, and it's 14,000 rupees. So the 216 version with a fingerprint scanner, what do you think's the price? Exactly. This is less than the J2 2016, and it's half the price of the most comparable Samsung phone, which is the J5 Prime. It is the same great price as the 3S, which is why I'm sure you all guessed it, but this time it comes with a fingerprint sensor. So what about the 332 version? So I mentioned the Moto G5 starts at 10,999, has 3 gigabytes of RAM, but just 16 gigabytes of internal storage. 332? 8,999. Okay, so I think you're really going to love this one. We also have a new version. The 464 version of the Redmi Note 4 was the most popular. So of course, we wanted to make sure that we brought this to the Redmi 4 as well. So how much do you think this one costs? $10,999. So in summary, Redmi 4, 4100 milliamp hour, 2-day battery, a 5-inch display with incredible hand feel, the Snapdragon 435 octa-core processor, the 13-megapixel PDAF camera, starting from just $6,999 for the 216 version, $8,999 for 332, and just $10,999 for the all-new 464 version. So our vision is to bring innovation to everyone with products like the Redmi 4. But we're more than just a smartphone company. Most of you know that we love to bring smart, powerful features to even the most ordinary home appliances. Well, there's one seemingly ordinary product that gets overlooked. It's a product that's frozen in time: the traditional home router. So the routers that you see here range from between 1 to 10 years old. And actually, looking at this photo, it's difficult to tell which is which. In the last decade, technology has advanced by leaps and bounds, but the routers you have still look the same. So today, we're launching our first router, the Mi Router 3C. We don't compromise on design, and the beautiful 3C reflects this. The matte white is subtle and elegant. It fits well not just functionally, but as an object of modern decor. And you can definitely tell that this wasn't made 10 years ago. So we designed Mi Router 3C around 3 key points: smart features, range, and speed. First, let me talk about the smart features. What really sets this router apart is how much more it does than your typical device. It all starts with the Mi Wi-Fi app, which is available on both iOS and Android. All of the smart features are integrated directly into this app. So first, let's talk about setting up a new router. For most people, this can be really frustrating. In fact, I'd guess that most of you had somebody come to your house to install it for you. Well, with the Mi Wi-Fi app, this can be done very quickly and easily. So here, I'm going to show you the setup for the PPP-oE connections, which I think is probably the hardest thing to do. It's pretty simple, just 3 steps. First, you open the app, and it'll detect your new router. Second, you plug an Ethernet cable from your old router to the Mi Router 3C. And then third, we'll automatically import your settings to the new router, and that's it. So like I mentioned, this is probably the most difficult setup, but if you have fiber, all you have to do is swap the wires, and the app will guide you through the rest. So here's some other smart features. This is real-time monitoring. You can see at a glance which devices are connected to your network and how much bandwidth they use in real time. So quick question. How many of you here are parents? That's it? Okay. Well, I think the few parents in the audience will appreciate this, or the people who are too shy to raise their hand. Parental controls. We understand that some parents want additional features to control or restrict internet access for your children. With parental controls, you can set up a scheduled time each weekday for your children's internet access after school. You can also blacklist or whitelist certain websites, and you can even set it up to get a notification whenever their devices connect to your network. Next is guest sharing. Every time my friends and guests come over, they always want the Wi-Fi password. But giving away my master password means that anybody can access my network drives, for example. Guest sharing lets you create a unique Wi-Fi login for friends so that I can keep my master password secure. I can also use a really simple password like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So friends don't have to copy complicated things from a paper, or you don't have to remember some crazy password. And then once your party is over, you can just turn it off. So now, for advanced users, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this. You probably know this number for your own router. It's slightly different for every router. It's the browser-based login to your admin panel, and it's a complicated maze of settings and a minefield of potential mistakes. So one of the most important things that you should do here is to make sure that your router is using the best Wi-Fi channel. For those of you who don't know what this is, let me explain quickly. When you're in an apartment complex, there are a lot of competing Wi-Fi networks around. This is an app that shows you all of the networks around, and you can see here it's pretty busy. So usually what you'd want to do is find out where are the empty channels. In this case, it'd be pretty difficult to do on your own. Once you figure out which channel, you have to log in, and actually on this device, changing the channel is buried in advanced settings, and then you have to change it here. So you have to decide, okay, I'll change it to channel 11. Now, as I mentioned, changing your Wi-Fi channel is the single most important thing you can do on your router to increase signal strength and speed. It reduces interference, and it can have a huge impact on your Wi-Fi experience. But it's so complicated and so buried in these annoying admin settings that most people never do it. So we've made this really, really simple, and it's a feature we call Wi-Fi Boost. It's by far my favorite feature of the Mi Router 3C. Wi-Fi Boost optimizes your network experience by automatically selecting the best channel for you. All you have to do is click a button in the app, and it immediately happens. This is so simple that anybody can do it, not just advanced users. So in summary, here are the smart, useful features on the Mi Router 3C. You get real-time monitoring, guest sharing, parental controls, the amazing Wi-Fi boost, and of course, most importantly, super easy setup. So we actually created a video. Let's take a look at that. Oh, hey, welcome to my house. So I'm having a party today, and you can see all the guests are here. What do you think is the first thing that people ask when they come to your house? It's not a glass of water. They always ask for your Wi-Fi password. With Mi Router, you don't have to give them your master password. You can actually create a guest network so that all your guests can just use that. They don't have access to any device on your main network. Your neighbors can't use it. And you can turn it off when they leave. So with Mi Router, it comes with a super intelligent app that lets you have full control of your network right from your phone. It's called Mi Wi-Fi. Let me show you a couple of really cool features. You see that dude over there? That's Shahrukh. He's the guy that consumes all the bandwidth every time we have one of these parties. With the Mi Wi-Fi app, you can actually limit the bandwidth of any device in your network. In this case, let's have a little fun. The other thing you can do is add him to a block list, which completely removes him from the network. With one click, I can just block his device. There you go. Another super useful feature of the Mi Wi-Fi app is parental control. When my cousin comes over, I'm responsible. So I can make sure that he doesn't access any kind of weird websites that'll get me in trouble with my uncle. You can also limit the time of day that your kids are on the network. So since I don't have kids, I actually use this for my parents. So another really great feature of the Mi Wi-Fi app is called QoS. It lets you prioritize traffic on your network. So you can prioritize types, things like videos, and make sure that you're always streaming in high quality, or you can limit the bandwidth on your guest network. Here, it's Saturday night, so of course we're watching the match, and with QoS, we can see it in perfect high quality. Let's check it out. That was actually my house, by the way. So that's MiRouter 3C. It's smarter than your average router. So next, I want to talk about range. Most of us connect to Wi-Fi when we get home, and a subpar router can lead to a patchy connection, or even worse, the dead zones, places where your Wi-Fi signal just doesn't reach. MiRouter 3C achieves higher speeds at further distances than your typical routers. It transmits ranges of up to 80 meters with high wall penetration. Now, of course, the effective range will vary based on the number and thickness of the walls in your home. But how do we achieve this range? Well, it starts with having good antennas. Here you see some of the antennas from your typical router. Most of them use basic copper. And actually, this one here is just filled with air. MiRouter 3C has antennas that are made up of high-quality copper paired with PCB antennas for much better Wi-Fi coverage and wall penetration. And that's not all. MiRouter 3C has 4 antennas, and all of them are real. Because we have 4 antennas, we can have 2 antennas that are dedicated to transmitting signals and 2 that are dedicated to receiving. And we also alternate them. So this one will be transmit, this is receive, this is transmit, and then receive. And this further reduces any potential interference, which again gives you better signal range. MiRouter comes with 64 megabytes of RAM. Each device that's connected to your network uses some RAM. So having more RAM means that more devices can connect to your network, and you can keep more stable connections. MiRouter 3C has 8 times the RAM of a typical router, and most of them never list how much RAM they have. So this allows us to have up to 64 devices connected at any time. Okay, so this is the most important thing, speed. How does this all translate into speed? It's the thing that everybody cares most about. And MiRouter 3C transmits data faster and at further distances than typical routers. It delivers up to 300 Mbps combined upload and download speed. But maximum theoretical speed isn't what matters most in practice. We wanted to find out how MiRouter 3C performs in a real-world setting compared to other routers in the market. So you might have seen this photo that I put on Twitter a few weeks ago. What we were actually doing with these concrete blocks was setting up various tests with construction materials, things like copper, aluminum foil, mirrors, etc. We wanted to see what would happen in the real world. So how does MiRouter 3C stack up? Here are the results. You can see that at 15 meters, performance is about the same. When you just go 10 meters further away, the D-Link